My work is my heart. In coach training, which is the focus of what I'm doing these days, I have the opportunity to share my knowledge and experience with people around the world to help them reach children, teenagers, and young adults and coach them to make their lives better. Many of the students that we talk about in our training are those with ADHD, executive dysfunction, kids that have social skills issues. And so in our trainings, we really dig in not only to how do you coach, but then how do you shift that coaching to really make it work for the younger clients. It is, as I said, it's heartwarming. And I always tell the students in my classes that I see each one of them as another seed planted. Like Lady Bird Johnson has had planted the field of flowers along the George Washington Parkway in Washington, D.C. And every time I teach, I envision more and more blossoms. And that's what these coaches are. And the fact that everyone around the world is hearing about this, we still need to do a lot more. But it's incredible to know that in a number of languages that there are people working with kids, inner city kids. I have someone in Morocco working with children in an orphanage, working and translating my work into Turkish and Spanish and Italian, and knowing that in places where people were like, well, why would you coach a child? I can now say there's proof behind it, the research we've done, seeing the eyes of the kids, the emails and phone calls that I get. I've graduated, I've gone on. Without you, my life would not be the same. And now I'm getting that feedback from the coaches we've trained because they have had that opportunity to touch the lives of those young ones. People who take our training, they have an opportunity to catch that fire and passion that I have. I'm a part of every class that we teach. My faculty, they're all men and women who are really embody what I do. They believe in me. They are not only my faculty, but they're my friends. And they help to train other people so that in our training, not only are we teaching coaching skills, and we really drive that home that you need to be a good coach in order to go out there and help someone else in their life. But the piece that adds to that is that extension of imagine what it's like for a teenager to have no friends, to be frustrated every day, be laughed at, be bullied, decide to go and use drugs and self-medicate to get away from the pain and the noise in their brain because of undiagnosed ADHD or being yelled at and told they're stupid. And opening up the door to how to do that is what we do better than any other program. And it's exciting to know that behind that is research that continues to go on with my coaching model. We've been doing it for, research now for many years, and working with college students now, middle school, trying to figure out what we can do and looking at my coaching model for students who have chronic illness and ADHD or trouble just getting themselves moving because it's hard to be motivated when you're sick. And so all of that is what's different because it's unique and it's truly heart-centered. The individuals who train with us gain a better understanding of themselves. Many who have gone through difficulties growing up, and they reach a level of insight so that when they're going out there and coaching young people, they have a connection to them that is unlike anything else. The feedback we get from our trainees is that when they get out there using the tools and models that we teach them at JST Coaching and Training, we're able to shift their mindset in a way that then they can go out and more effectively shift students to a positive mindset, which leads to a more resilient, self-confident young adults. When coaches complete our trainings, they have an opportunity to network with other coaches who have gone through the program from around the world and share their experiences and learn from each other. It's actually something that we promote. It's like we want our students, our graduates, to stay connected, because what we do is so unique that without that connection to the other graduates, they feel rather alone out there. So we make sure that the sense of community is strong. And in all the years I've been doing this work, we have people who have come back to us over and over again. We want to take more training with you. We want to be a part of what you're doing, because what you do fills our hearts, and when you fill our hearts, we're able to fill the hearts of the children. Our organization, which was founded back in 1997, started when ADHD coaching was just beginning. And over the years, watching the trends and the growing number of diagnoses around the world, the level of awareness about ADHD, executive functioning, and related problems, and how coaching helps, that's what our journey has been and continues to be. JST Coaching and Training is in the forefront of the work that's being done in coaching research around ADHD. And we have more research out there than any other company. The training follows the research, combines that with what you get in a solid core coach training program, and then adds to that, so that when you complete our trainings and you go out to the world and say, hey, I'm a JST graduate, you have not only the backing of coach training and a credential, you have the research behind the work that you did. And it makes such a difference, not only for you in terms of a marketing piece, but it really makes a difference for those who you coach. Now, ADHD is better diagnosed, more clearly defined, and the increase in diagnosis, despite people thinking that it's about misdiagnosing and just putting labels on people, it's about understanding for children and adults that there is an impact on the neurobiology of the brain that makes it difficult for people to move forward. So these days, we know exactly what's happening and how treatment is important, and understanding. One of the biggest pieces that coaches bring to the field of ADHD and coaching is that we understand, we're trained to understand the brain, to know what's happening, to ask the right questions, to be curious and to figure out what it is that that specific individual, that client needs to move forward and be successful. And that comes from that combination of understanding ADHD and executive functioning and having a solid core in coaching. I got started in coaching after attending a Thanksgiving Day luncheon at the elementary school that my son attended in 4th grade. And there was a little boy who was sitting at the table with us, and his parents couldn't come to the luncheon. So he was sitting next to me, and he started talking to me about my son, and he said, oh, he's so nice, and I like playing with him, and he's a good kid, and he was just going on, and then he started looking around the room and talking and fidgeting, and I had only seen this boy a few times. And we were continuing to eat, except I looked down at his tray, and he hadn't eaten anything. So I turned to him and I said, aren't you hungry? And And he said, I'm starving, Mrs. Triplett, but there's so much going on in here. I don't know what to do first, and I don't know what to pick. And we only have a few minutes left. And I said, okay, let's try something. You tell me, what do you like that's on your plate? So we went around his plate. He definitely liked the roll, the big Thanksgiving puff snowflake roll, and he piled it high with cranberries and turkey and stuffing, even put a couple of green beans in there, and he wolfed that thing down. And after the luncheon, walking back home with my husband, I looked at him and I said, I know what I'm doing for the rest of my life. I said, no child should sit there and not be able to eat because the noise in the room and the excitement and all the activities keeps them from being able to figure out where to start. And he looked at me and he says, oh my gosh, you're not kidding. And I said, no. And from that day on, I started my coaching business and began to read everything I could about ADHD because I knew that there had to be a better way. People were coaching adults, but no one was looking at the kids. And the adults were saying to me, boy, I wish I had you when I was a teenager. It's like, okay, this is my thing. This is what I need to do and what I want to do. And that's what got me started. As time went on, I was working with teenagers, some college students, but what I was finding as I worked with some adults as well, they were saying, well, we never finished college. We got in, we did a year or so, but it was hard. Self-medicating with drugs and alcohol, dropping out, not having money. And so I began to look into what can we do at the college level and connected with a group of researchers and coaches here in the States. And what we've done over time is using my coaching model. I go in and we do on-site trainings as well as distance learning to help faculty and staff beyond special education, beyond disability services, including, but beyond, advisors and deans who come to the training to learn how to shift their language to coaching language to empower and improve the retention rates of the students so they stay in school, they get choices, they understand how to move themselves forward because they're more self-confident and more self-determined, which leads to a more successful path in higher education. And it's such a wonderful feeling. And many of the college students that I've worked with, we'd start at the beginning of freshman year and work together off and on for 4 years. I have one student who went on to get a double master's, is now working on her PhD, and somehow in there decided, yeah, I met someone wonderful and she's getting married. So it's all of these things in life that, according to her, her words were, I wouldn't be here if I hadn't had you in my life. And that's what I want to give these other coaches, to give you as trainees the skills and the tools, as well as share the passion to make a difference in their lives.